Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 355, with very special guests, creators of the inspirational song Standing as One, Grammy-nominated and Emmy Award-winning singer-songwriter Faith Rivera and lyricist Conneta Johnson. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. We are so honored that you have chosen to share your day with us and your time. And wow, what a great show we have planned for you. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host, and I'm also lovingly known as RCA. I'm here in my studio today with my fabulous producer, and we have some guests to introduce in a moment. So it's a great day.
Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Whenever you might be joining us, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast. We are very excited to be at episode 355. Today's episode is entitled Standing as One.
Wow.
So, yeah, we are very excited. We have no doubt that this is going to be an inspiring conversation today as we explore what it really truly means to stand as one people, right?
Yes.
So joining us today are two incredible guests. We're so excited. These two have dedicated their lives to uplifting others through ministry, music, and really, truly deep spiritual work. Mm-hmm. First, we are thrilled to welcome Conneta Johnson, whose journey spans decades of service, teaching, and leadership in metaphysical studies. From founding the Universal Rays of Light Church to mentoring ministers and life coaches, Conneta has been a guiding force in the spiritual community. And if you've ever heard the powerful song Standing as One, you've already been touched by her work, for her words made that song the anthem that it is. Mm. And the voice behind that inspirational tune, bringing those lyrics to life, Faith Rivera, a Grammy-nominated and Emmy Award-winning singer, songwriter, and overall positivity powerhouse. Faith's music has been a source of inspiration for so many, myself included, for many years, and she continues to use her voice to uplift, empower, and remind us of the divine connection that we all share. Together, we're going to be diving into the power of unity, faith, and seeing the sacred in each other, no matter our differences. So we are very excited to welcome to the show today, Conneta Johnson and Faith Rivera. Yeah.
Aloha.
Aloha. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love the clap you added.
That was a surprise sound effect for you.
God, I love it. I want it all the time.
Just whenever you walk into a room, just.
You know, imagine what the world would be like if that happened to all of us, right? Oh, wow.
Right.
We just had our, sacred nature acknowledged wherever we went. Wow, life would be amazing. Well, it's so great to have you both. And, I am in a learning process from both of you because I have loved this song for so long. And it's really interesting because I've come back around to this song, and, Faith, you and I were talking a little bit about it, and I did not realize Conneta's connection to it. And you're like, well, she wrote it and I sang it. And yeah, like it would, without Conneta, it wouldn't be there. So I'm happy to have you. And I just want to say a word too about the timing and why is, we all know there's so much division right now in our world, and it's not just in the U.S. It's particularly pronounced right now in the U.S., but it is everywhere. And unfortunately, this is not new. And so what you both represent to me is people that are able to see beyond the condition and into the soul and into divine reality. And I think that's what we're looking for. We're trying to figure out, how do I see beyond the noise, and how do I rise higher in my consciousness and awareness to be in this place where I can stand as one, even if I don't understand you or even if I don't agree with you. So anyway, I wanted to welcome you both and to say that song has meant so much to me personally. I wanted more people to know about it. And, it's been out there, 20 years, that song?
Yeah, I think so. That's a long time. A long time. And unfortunately, you know, we were saying off screen,
Yeah.
you know, it hasn't fully come to be yet.
Yes. Right.
And yet, even though it's not on media, we don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's been a movement, you know, for love and an individual journey and a collective journey that is, you know, it's not making headlines, but
Yes.
it's there. I mean, look at
Absolutely.
your show. Look
Yeah.
at you and Sean and Conneta and the work she's continued. So thank you for bringing it back for me.
Indeed.
Conneta really was the one. Well, can I share how it kind of came about?
Yes, that's what's going to be my next question. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, I would say a couple years, I think Conneta, I'm not sure when you showed me the lyric, but I loved Neil Donald Walsh. He did a free retreat in Oregon, and it was a left turn for me. You know what I mean? I was going for music and I'm like, I got to go to this thing. And Nolan was like, what is this weird thing? You know? Not only did I meet him, I found my calling. I found the people I could serve.
Wow.
I became a part of this humanities team, people that wanted to live the principles deeper, right? And so I founded the Southern California branch, and Conneta was also a part of it. But, you know, Conneta, you'll have to remind me how and when you showed me the lyric. But when I saw it, I was like, I did my best to really honor what you had written, Conneta, you know, and pair the music to it. So I'll let you come in now and maybe you can talk about how did those lyrics come? Because did I use your lyrics exactly, or did I move stuff?
No, you used the lyrics, which was really wonderful.
Yeah.
At that point, I was still in my pulpit ministry.
Uh-huh.
And I had become familiar with a couple, Keith and Cheryl Garrison, who had started talking to me about Neil Donald Walsh's books, Conversation with God. And I was sitting in the backyard of my son's backyard, sitting by the pool, and these sayings started coming to me, these lines, and I truly thought that I was writing my next talk.
Ah, yes.
You know, for my church.
Mm-hmm.
And then lines kept interjecting, and I would write it up here and I would write it up there, and that didn't happen normally.
Mm-hmm.
And I all of a sudden realized that it was not a talk, it was a song. And I literally out loud said, okay, God, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
And he said, it said,
yes,
give it to Faith.
I didn't know you got that memo.
I knew Faith through Humanities Team. At that point, I was attending the same meetings that she was.
Yep.
I knew that she sang in churches.
Yeah.
But my sister sang in churches. So I didn't.
And so you were like, well, maybe not.
I just know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but I follow. And so I called her and she said, yeah, sure. You know, our house is not far from where we meet. Come over after the meeting and we'll talk about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. First thing that happened when I walked in the door was that I saw her Emmy. It's like gulp. And she said, I'm the same person. And I said, well, okay. She was very warm, you know, opened her home to me. We sat down, she picked up the paper and she said, okay. She knew.
And you know, these words did not read like a normal lyrics. I mean, because it was like a conversation, you know, and I forgot to add in my story. I mean, I was on fire in my heart because I had found how I could serve. I'd found the people and the tribe, and
yes.
And her lyrics wouldn't have been anything that I'd ever write. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, and honestly, like Conneta, I really felt the power in those words, but I was a little bit like, you know, like the ego part was a little bit like, can this really be a like song? You know, can it be a song that translates that's not a musical? You know,
right? Because it almost right. Yeah, it could be like two characters singing to each other almost.
Well, there's how many of us? There's Harold Payne, Daniel Nahmad, Allie Handel, Gerald White, and myself. That's 5 of us. I mean, I've never since done a song like. I mean, granted, I have a pop R&B group now, but it wasn't like this where we did different lines. So yeah, it was definitely being guided, like how Conneta was sharing. And so Ted Jacobs produced it. I just want to honor everyone on this track.
Yes.
And what's that? David Hughes played that bass that you hear like slapping around in the background.
Right. Oh yeah, it's awesome bass playing. Yeah.
But as you can hear, it's a very sparse production. And I don't know if that was a budget constraint or really keeping it real.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody went, and I'll tell you this: Daniel Nahmad, was starting to become a friend at that time. But Conneta, I mean, unless you have more to share about the song, I want to say how this song was debuted. Can I share about that?
Oh, at the meeting there?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me kind of, if I can. When I got the flyer.
What flyer?
For the conference that we went to, for the conference.
It was the first leadership meeting in Santa Barbara for Humanities Team, which is now, this global organization. So anyway, but this was the very beginnings. There are about 30, 40 leaders from around the world.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, go on.
So when I got the flyer, the name of the conference was Standing as One.
Oh.
And I went,
oh, wow.
Wait, did I share the song already?
No.
With them? Oh,
no.
Well, there you go.
You hadn't shared it with me, anything. And I saw that and I thought, what's that? No one's talked to me about it. It's just what's going on. But as it unfolded, the weekend unfolded, it was absolutely perfect.
Oh, wow.
Here was this international organization being formed, this humanities apostrophe S.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gathering.
Yes.
And we were standing as one.
Like literally, yes.
Together in this thing. And then it went, take it from there, Faith.
Yeah, well, I'm getting chicken skin, as they say in Hawaii, or goosebumps, because I remember, so this room is about 30, 40 people. What was it, like a chapel or something? But it was
we were at Santa Barbara College. Was it Santa Barbara?
Or the Mission? Okay. And all I know, there's good acoustics, RCA, good acoustics. So, and now, and everything just unfolded perfectly because, for instance, how can I ever get Daniel Nahmad, Harold Payne, Gerald White, Allie Handel, all together? Plus, Mark Romero came, an amazing, good, flamenco guitarist and more.
Right.
Lisa Monroe, hands down my favorite, poet. All came, and it was just this magical night that just kept building and building to a point. I don't know. It just felt like the room exploded. And I remember those 30, 40 people bought all of our, CDs. And let me share a personal moment. Conneta, I don't know if I shared this with you. So Neil was trying to buy all of my stuff. And I had a little snarky comment saying like, I gave them to you already. As in I had been trying, to give him my music.
Your stuff.
And my ego felt like, whatever. He pushed it aside and he stopped me and he looked at me. He goes, I am buying this. And he goes, listen, he goes, this is personal. Like there's a connection now. And I remember he told me this story about wherever he travels, everyone's trying to give him stuff. And the most extreme example he had was he was using the bathroom and someone is sliding him a book under the door. So he was trying to say, Faith, this now, I'm experiencing this.
Something. Yes.
So it was just such a high, RCA. And to be honest, again, I don't know how we did it, but Conneta, you also came to Bard College in New York.
I did, but let's go back to that night.
You go ahead.
I was on such a high because it was the closing song that night.
Yeah.
And it just didn't stop. It just kept going and going and going. And the spiritual high was so amazing.
Yeah.
When we finally tapped down on the ground, I went to Faith and I said, can we do a composition of the music of tonight? Can we do this program? And she said, you'll have to ask Neil and get all of the artists to agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, done. I went to Neil. I said, can we capture this?
Yeah.
It's already recorded. Can we put it together as a composition?
Yeah.
And he said, as long as all of the artists agree. I went back to Faith. She went to every one of the artists and they said, absolutely. We put it together. She put it together. And it became the theme song for Humanities Team that night. So we had, 2 separate albums, CDs that were put out in regard to that. And that magic of that particular night happened. And then our next big thing was when we went to Bard.
Yeah, all of Humanities Team went across the country to New York. And again, don't know how or why all of these beautiful friends of mine flew with me. No one paid us. Yeah, I don't.
We all went of our own accord.
But we were part of this thing called Humanities Team. And so
wow.
I think it's so perfect you're feeling into it now, because that's kind of what's required, is that we all pack our bags and go do,
That was my exact thought as you guys were sharing all of this. I mean, first of all, though, you have to have, the divine idea that we love to talk about. And Conneta had it, and not only heard it, but did something with it. And I think, how many of us do we get divine ideas and they go nowhere because we don't have the courage, the conviction, the, commitment to our journey to move forward. And so I want everybody listening to just hear us say, the only way divine ideas get into the world is through us. I've heard it said, God can do no more for us than God can do through us. And why I think this song was so special is that everybody chose in at the same moment. And it does really translate, it's a heart opening experience. If you're really dialing into the song, if you're not just, listening as you do stuff, but give it your attention and you can feel it. It's a bodily, heart-opening experience when you really listen to the words. And everything you're describing, I didn't know, but I'm not surprised because of how I feel when I listen to it. And you're exactly right. Our work is to be about it. Pack your bags, make it happen. And everybody's so worried about now, our ego's always trying to figure this out. Well, what if this does this and this does that? And what if I'm not getting paid? You simply do it because it's the right thing to do. We all have to make a living, right? But I've done this podcast, nearly 7 years. I'm not rich from it. I can tell you that. But what I know is I've touched lives all around the world. And that's why I do it. That's why you do what you do. We do it because it's ours to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'd have to ask all my friends again, why'd you come? But
why did you do it?
Yeah, because they heard the call. I was like, did I sell it well? What? But they were caught up. They felt night, right, Conneta? They felt that evening with Santa Barbara, and they're like, hell yeah, we'll fly to New York. I'm like, okay, let's go.
And then that group of people, we met in Venice. One time we met at that house. We met for your anniversary party. It was a connection that stays. And the one with Harold Payne, oh my goodness,
oh what a soul, man, that guy is
to be able to be with him and wow, it just, the memories just flood.
Well, it's like no accident. Like when I went back and looked, I'm like, these are like my best friends that I love, and I'm like, this was freaking 20 years ago. And I have to say one thing, RCA, you're saying, we have to be, what'd you say? Maybe I'm reading your words, but bold enough or courageous enough to take that step. I will have to say this, and Conneta, for this, I, apologize. And yet I know everything's on purpose. I don't do this song very often. And I don't know if it's because it's so charged with such a high experience. And it's such a different song with all these singers. I never felt I could do it justice
That makes sense.
Like I'm saving it for, I don't know, when we're all together again. But that's the only thing I'm like, I really haven't shared this song in the live space for all the touring I've done, unless there was a choir or something that wanted to, then I'd feel it would honor the song. So that's the only thing I was like, it's not an easy song to perform by yourself.
No, that's what I was thinking. Right.
Yeah, it is not. And it's every YouTube that I've seen on it has always been a choir, or it's been a group like the Allstate Insurance, it was, different people singing, different parts and stuff like that.
Right. That's where the song was used, right, kind of commercially, was for the insurance company, right?
Right.
Because I knew in a spiritual setting, Neil Donald Walsh really used it, and you guys used it, but that was cool. So it was an Allstate commercial, right?
It was an Allstate Insurance commercial where, they were, you're in good hands, so to speak. So
but they all sang it. It was all their employees singing these words. Who are you? A child of light. I'm like, what?
I know. It was really amazing.
Wow. Well, I mean, gosh, that one idea about a company of that size, corporation of that size, having that message. I mean, I want to say, where my corporation's at right now, friends. Where my lawyers at, where my teachers at. There's that song by that band. They're out of Miami. They Here to Hear. Do you know that group?
Of course, yeah. Ashra Weed and all those.
Yeah. And they have a song that's saying that, where's my leaders at? Where's my, and it's about all of us, it is always about this, all of us embodying the truth we know to the very best of our ability in whatever place we find ourselves. And I think sometimes people hear us talking like, Conneta's in spiritual leadership. Faith, you're both a performer and do a lot of spiritual teaching and work yourself. And I do as well. And I think people think, oh, well, that's good for them. But it's really for all of us in whatever walk we do to bring that energy in and through. And I think that's also what the song is asking for.
Right. Exactly. Do something. Do something. Stand. Even if you're standing by yourself.
Yes.
Stand up.
Yes.
But one of the things that, particularly in today's environment is to see the people that see the injustice that are standing, and they are standing as one, saying no. We're not going to let this happen without, a voice. We're going to get a voice to this.
Well, what's powerful for me, I mean, Conneta, like just the questions, and I don't know, I heard it this way, and I even think I don't think I sing it as aggressive, but it feels really in your face. Like, imagine if you just go in a room, start a conversation with someone, especially these days, and be like, who are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
What? I mean, like, it just strips everything away. And I just, I was talking with you, RCA, this book, this journal that is mine to write. Conneta, it was called Wow, God is Real. But at the Alan Cohen retreat that I was just so blessed to get to work with him, I added 2 more words that really like lit my passion for what's next is, wow, God is real in me. And I feel this song just cuts to the chase before anything we do in our life, whether we're talking about like in the White House or how are you going to show up at work? Who are you? And how are you going to show? I mean, it's like everything. And I feel like that's where the solution lies. Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to have a new distribution, and to be able to get the message out.
Oh, and you distribute, you mean of the song?
Right.
Or yeah. Well, maybe this is one step there.
It is because what we were hoping you'd do, Faith, is provide us with the audio to play, for the end. And then that way it will really help people, connect it with it. And then of course, in the show notes, we can give links, to where to find it. Cause is it on Spotify and Apple and all of that, or Do you have to go to your website? What's the best way to get it?
I believe it is streaming everywhere.
Okay, I thought it was. Yeah, I didn't double check that. Sorry, before we got on. Yeah.
No, and it's on YouTube, and I think all the links are there. But I did want to say, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 7 artists on. This is the Humanities Team CD with that song, and also songs donated from all the artists on this theme. Yes, and I want to add Conneta. So 8. So I want your listeners to know, if they go to faithrivera.com or aloha@faithrivera.com, email me. If they will send $8, because you know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm counting it.
Yeah,
for each
$8. Exactly.
$8. I'll just even cover your shipping, but I want to just send them out. And if you can't afford $8 now, just tell me, pay us later. I just want people to have it. That's the sell or the offer. That's the
invitation. I love it. I love having an original CD anyways. And I think all the music of yours I have are from CDs I purchased from you. And I meant to tell you too, one of your songs I've been using in my prosperity course, and somebody walked in the other day and said, "Oh, I love this song. That's Faith Rivera, and that's from your playlist from our from your prosperity." And I said, "Yes, it is." And she said, "That song has meant so much to me." So, Faith, you've got so many songs, that bless so many people. And what I'd love to hear from both of you is a little bit about what is next for you. But first, I want to say the song is "Called to Be." That's another one that really. Yeah. That's another one, because again, it's calling us into our higher self, out of the human, the light, dark, all these opposites we're in, into this higher way. It's like we have this calling that's in our soul, and I don't care who you are, I believe you have it. And I think your music, and I can just tell from Conneta, your teachings, it's all about that, bringing us into that higher awareness of who we are and who God is in us. That it's not about trudging through life and working, paying taxes, and dying. That there's this divine calling that we're, meant to embody to make the world better. And I've been recently working with several older people, and they're in what I call a life review. And the question is, what legacy have I left? And in some cases, that's a hard question to answer. In others, there's a sense of peace because of all the great work they've done. So this is what I think we're called to. But I'd love to hear from both of you, if you have time, to tell us just a little bit about your work now and kind of what's next for you. Conneta, do you have anything going you want us to kind of lift up for you and that you'd like to let our listeners know about?
I'd like for Spirit to let me know what's next.
Yes.
That's a good
Praise
place.
God.
I actually retired in December. Started that process because as a life coach, trainer, that's a commitment. Mine was a 2-year commitment, and I didn't feel that I was ready to make another 2-year commitment.
Yes.
So, and you're right. I taught ontology. ONTOLOGY, the art of being.
Yes.
And when you have that sense of being, everything else can go on around you.
Yes.
And you can still know that all is well.
Yes, beautiful.
And so that is my calling. That's what I want to do. What my next phase is, I'm open and waiting for that. And I see it online. Not sure how that's going to open from here. And it is my next phase.
Well, I have one idea how that could open for you. Is you could come to a Monday night for me on my spiritual network, and I'd be very happy to honor you for your time. And I'd love to have you do a Monday evening. Of course, for you, it'd be afternoon because you're in California, but we meet from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. And we do have people joining us from around the country. I'd love to have you come do a special message in the next couple of months. So give that some thought, and I will reach out via email. But I think your spirit would be a real blessing to that group, because these are spiritual souls that are really, really on purpose, and they're just seeking God's guidance. They are, doing such exceptional soul work. I think you'd be a real blessing to them. So think about that.
I would be honored. Thank you.
And Faith, what about you? What's next for you, and how can we support it?
Sure. And Conneta, ask me later, but I have an idea for you too. Okay.
we're going to help Conneta whether she wants it or not.
We're going to offer it. What Conneta said really spoke to me. At the core is that beingness. I'm very clear. Because, in past years, before I moved home to Hawaii, it was in a more overt outward way, right? I'd tour, I'd share my love that way, to big groups and thing. And, it's funny, I come back home and, the ego starts to question, right, my value, because it's like, am I really impacting people? Blah, blah, blah. And now I'm so clear. I'm like, you know what? Like, for instance, I have a pop R&B group with these young 27-year-olds. And what's my work? To be everything that you both talk about, to show up as love and light in our every decision, from, are we going to take this gig? We're writing another song. We're going to, we're going through this, and to be, and it's weird because I'm a little bit like, don't call me grandma, or even like sometimes mentor. Cause I trip out on the age thing. Nolan, my husband, was just saying he's coaching flag football now on the side. And he goes, I'm the oldest guy there. And I was like, and so I know we're tripping. Our human part is tripping. But I know it's that beingness to show up. So that's one, that's one main way. But what's calling me now is this year, I'm really feeling the call to say yes to all these creations that want to happen, that I've, had every reason of not to do it. And the universe has pretty much set everything up that I have no excuse. So, there's a lot of songs coming through, and for different projects, and also the spiritual ones that I haven't written in a long time, because the ego wants to say, well, no one buys CDs. You don't even tour. Who the heck are you making it for? I'm like, why am I making it? Because my heart's calling me, because
exactly
guiding me. And because, again, I keep referring to you, RCA, joy is that success vibration. It brings me joy.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to just trust. And like you said, everyone listening, I don't know how things will turn out when you say yes and take that next step. Right. But if it's going to feel good, I can almost guarantee you it's going to feel good for so many more. And maybe it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
The impact is not our part. Go ahead. You're going to say stuff.
Oh, no. Well, you're saying so many good things. And I was just reminded that one of my teachers said to me that joy is a sure sign of the presence of God. And that is so what's needed, right? And we need it. And so if all it does, like I've shared with you, Faith, that I'm writing all these stories. Yes. I've written several books and everything, but this one's totally different because it's childhood stories, and I'm up to over 61,000 words. I just found out, which I'm not sure how that happened. But anyway, as I was reading it the other day, I was laughing at some of these things, and I thought, I don't know if anybody will ever buy this, but I've sure had a fun time writing it. And it's enough for that, because the guidance is so strong. It's kind of like what Conneta was saying about when she got those words. I was just home with family, and I started getting these downloads of new titles. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to follow this. And the mature spiritual student, and we all know this, I'm not saying this for you all, but to remind myself, really, as mature spiritual students, that's always the work. God guides, we do. And the ego, it's natural that the ego always questions, because it always takes us past where we're comfortable. But for all of our listeners, like, be reminded, if you know you're being guided, the ego is always going to question that. So fear is a part of the curriculum. We don't know what's going to happen, but we go anyway. If it's good for us and it's good for everyone else, we move. And that is what we look to as source, of our guidance and our strength. So I see you doing that, Faith. And That journal, when you added those two words, the power of that. And Conneta, you felt it too, didn't you?
I
was
did.
Like, for me, I was like, that's it. And, I want to speak to the fear because I really feel that's the opportunity now. And everybody lift your hands up if you've had some fear in these recent.
Hello.
That's the opportunity is, I don't know if the word is to master, but to transcend them. And so, and I'm going to be honest with you. For instance, there's this one song I wrote with Noriko Oling that I love. That's the next level of what my heart wants to share on a spiritual level. It's called My Life Now, based on that quote that there is just one life, that life is perfect. That life is my life now. I have not recorded it because it was vocally challenging to me. And so the fear just keeps, all those reasons. No one's going to buy it. I can't even sing the song. So this year there's just this fire of like, no, like I'm here. Like, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
Right. I'd like to speak to something that Cynthia said, and that's about things working. And what I've learned is that in the universal process of things, it can't just work for me. It has to work for everyone.
Amen.
If it doesn't work for everyone, it's not going to work for me either.
That's right. Exactly. Beautifully said.
Wow.
And so when we're looking at what to do, if it's only going to serve us, it isn't going to work.
Amen.
It has to be collective in that oneness, in that standing as one. So in our collective thought of moving forward, it's the inspiration, being inspired, not being, in the motivation of the individual, but the inspiration that's moving us forward, that is going to answer, Faith and Cynthia and myself into what we're going to do.
Beautiful.
Yes. Well, and I think it ties in what we were saying is that even though we're doing this thing, because I believe it if it can, that inspiration includes your joy when you're doing it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And that joy and that love, it's just, it's energy. So it can't help but be.
Yeah. If the joy isn't there, it's not working. Yeah.
Like this song, like a song can still garner feelings and hopefully inspiration. 20 years later?
Coming back. Yeah. Again. Holding its own all this length of time.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's how you know it's truth, right? It stands the test of time. That is truth. The thing that stands the test of time is truth, capital T. It doesn't. There's no expiration date on truth, and even the music of it is hip happening. It works in today's world because of the way you wrote it, Faith. Too. That vibrant energy, it's great. And it is a little in your face, and that's good. Sometimes we need to be woken up a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, I am a child. Wait a minute. Yeah, I can do this, so, and that's what I think it does. So my dear friends, thank you so much for coming on today. What a blessing. Sean, if you're up, if you're on YouTube, you can see it is faithrivera.com. And, we hope you will connect more with Faith. Okay, I've talked a lot today with Faith's music, and what a blessing always to have you, Faith. And Conneta, what a blessing to meet you. I'm honored.
I am so honored to meet you and to be to finally get connected.
Amen to that, sister. Well, in God we're one and we know it. And as soon as I met you, I could feel that energy. It's amazing that it doesn't matter if you're in California and I'm all the way in Orlando, Florida. It's like the song says, in God we're one. So friends, we're going to leave you with that today. Sean's going to have that song playing. And thank you for listening. And as always, blessings on the journey, my dear friends.
Aloha. Thank you, Arcia.
Peace. Peace, my friends. Talk soon.
Who are you?
A child of light,
What are you?
a daily expression of that light.
When is the time?
Right now, forever will be
Where?
inside of me,
How?
standing as
When I accept that I am a child of life,
we will stand as one for humanity.
when you accept that you are an expression of that life,
We will stand as one for humanity.
when we accept that when it's now has been
Forever will be. We will stand as one for humanity.
when you accept that where is happening right now inside of you,
We will stand as one for humanity.
when you accept yourself as you are, you will be the change, for you are the change. Let us be the change.
Standing as standing as
Who are you?
a child of light,
Hey, what are you?
daily expression of that light.
When is the time?
Right now, forever will be
Where?
inside of me.
How?
Standing as standing as
When I accept that I am a child of light,
we will stand as one for humanity.
You accept that you are an expression of that life.
We will stand as one for humanity.
When we accept that where is now has been
Forever will be. We will stand as one for humanity.
Oh, when you accept that where is happening right now inside of you,
We will stand as one for humanity.
when you accept yourself as you are, you will be the change, for you are the change. Let us be the change.
yeah.
Standing as
It's a message. It's a cure. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. He will save us a cure.
We are saved with the message. Whoa,
standing
Can you hear the message?
When we accept ourselves as we are, we will be the change, for we are the change. Let us be the change.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2025, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore.
A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.